Welcome in, everyone. It is the Mountaineers Now Postgame Show presented by Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning. Take me home to comfort. That's Eugene, Napoleon, legendary West Virginia running back, and I'm Schuyler, Callihan, just some guy that likes to talk about the Mountaineers on a daily basis. So West Virginia, how about this, Gene? They get back on track. They snapped a two-game skid, beating UCF 41-28. And a quick look here at the numbers. Garrett Greene had a very effective day, both through the air and on the ground. 14-23, 156 yards. 3 rushing scores on only 55 yards, but he did make it count when he did tote the rock. Jahiem White had his breakout game, 9 carries, 85 yards in the score. Donaldson bounced back with a 100-yard performance. And if you look at the time of possession, again, West Virginia dominating, and that is no surprise. They are one of the leaders in the country in that category. 36 minutes to a shade under 24 for UCF. 286 yards on the ground for West Virginia. And Eugene, when Mountaineers rush for over 100 yards, you like their chances, right? When they rush for over 200, you really like their chances. When they're almost to 300, it's almost impossible to beat this football team.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. We had talked about this prior to this game. And I said this. If we control the ball, control line of scrimmage, really run the ball well, anything can happen. And I'm so glad. First off, check this out. When you are 100% in the red zone, every time you get 100%, look, I don't care who you're playing against. You might beat the New England Patriots playing like that. I'm just saying, you get no better than that. So I'm really proud of our ball club. You go on the road, you get a much-needed win. And I had said this last week. There was no way the Mountaineers was going to drop 3 games in a row. There was just no way. So there's a lot of tape to look at, and there's a lot to build on. There's a lot that Coach Brown and his staff in this team should feel good about. You just continue to build on this performance and build on this film and go from there. They played really good football. What, 2 or 3 penalties throughout the whole game?
Yeah.
You know, that's disciplined football. That's really good football. That's what you have to do right now down the stretch to build on to go in these last few games, because now anything can happen.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about it so many times, how the schedule sets up really nicely for them. You get Cincinnati, Baylor at the end of the season. You go back home next week to play BYU. Oklahoma, as of right now, they're in a dogfight with Kansas, 27-26 is the time we're recording this. So, I mean, you just never know in this league. There's so much parity in this league that you can win every game, you can lose every game. But let's go and get the bad out of the way, because I want to talk more about the good. The defense for West Virginia, there's still some problems there, right? There's some alarming issues with the tackling. The pass coverage was not good once again. Part of that because, again, you're not getting pressure on the quarterback. And when you don't get pressure on the quarterback, it's going to make the secondary look maybe not as good as they have been in the recent weeks where they were playing good defense. But tackling to me is an alarming issue. And I get it. Look, there's injuries all over that defense, significant ones at that. But you've got to find a way to find answers, whether that's designing certain things to be funneled into Lee Koba and Ben Cutter to put those guys in a position where they don't have to make tackles in space, get Aubrey Burks closer to the box. I don't know what they got to do, but they've got to be able to make tackles, because there's really no dynamic offenses left on the schedule for WVU, but Oklahoma. And Oklahoma here in a couple of weeks, they're going to make you pay for it if you can't tackle.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I said this as far as the offense was concerned going into this game, and I'll say it again as far as our defense is concerned. There's certain things that you have to do as a staff, scheme-wise, that's going to help put you in positions, whatever talent you have on the field, you could also scheme them in a certain way to help them get what you need out of it. In this case, yes, we need to get pressure on the quarterback. We really do. So you're going to have to figure out a way to scheme towards that to help you back in. Because if you don't, again, you're 100% right. Outside of Oklahoma, you're playing against teams that offensively, you should be able to match up, but you still have to get the ball carried to the ground. You still got to get pressure on the quarterback, regardless of who you're playing against. I think they're going to figure out some things. We're going to figure out some things after watching film of this particular game, because there's some things that I personally think they can do scheme-wise that's going to free up some things and help get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback, which we desperately need. And if that happens and the secondary plays as well as they did today, although we did enough in the secondary to show we're not as bad as people would think. But then again, there's some things that we can do a lot better to help our secondary. So I really think, and I'm hoping that we can grow from this particular game and get the necessary things that we need done to go out and really get on this serious winning stretch. Because like we said, the schedule really does match up very well, very favorable for our Mountaineers.
I mean, I hate to say it, and I hate to look in the rear view, but I mean, when you win a game like this, right, it makes you just think like, man, they're like literally this close to being like at 6-2 or 7-1 or whatever it would be. And it's just, it's a little frustrating at that. But I mean, we talked about how so many bounces had gone away. Well, actually, Neil Brown actually talked about it in his press conference last Monday that, West Virginia has not had bounces go their way. The Jalen Anderson touchdown turning into an interception, the Cole Taylor fumble bounces right up and goes right into an Oklahoma State defender. And then you obviously have the punt returner get trucked into by his own guy. And it's just like one thing after another was not going West Virginia's way. Today, it did. John Rice Plumlee, I mean, the kid was hitting everything, right? I mean, the ball never touched the ground until like the third quarter or fourth quarter. And the 3 interceptions that he had, Gene, I don't know that you can even blame him on any of the 3. The first one was a circus play, right? The ball just bounces up in the air. Beanie Bishop's right there, makes the catch and takes off. The second one, he had pressure in his face. Eddie Vestoreni did a really nice job of getting pressure to the quarterback. And I think the ball may have got tipped up into the air. So again, you can't really blame him for that. And then the third one, his receiver downfield gets dragged down to the ground. Then two other receivers crash into each other. So it's like the kid could not catch a break. He did have a couple of other chances to throw a 4th interception, which would have been on him. But man, like if you're West Virginia, you got to feel good at least about the turnovers to some extent. But man, like if they don't get those turnovers, this is a whole different ballgame.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Listen, I look at it this way, and thank God for the turnovers. At the end of the day, the mark of a good football team is this: somebody turns the ball over, they give you 4 extra possessions, and you don't do anything with those possessions. That's a problem. Today, we got the extra possessions, and we scored on every last one of them. We scored on our possessions. Those things are important. That's what I mean by looking at the film and really gaining something from this game that we didn't get a chance to do prior to.
Yeah.
We didn't. When you start to look at it, there's a lot of things that we didn't do well in a lot of these other games. You can gain on, you know what, we got to do this better, we got to block better, we got to do this better. In this particular game, you're looking at it in your film room saying, I'm looking at it with a little bit of a smile on my face because we won the game convincingly. Okay? But we need to build on this kind of stuff. Probably through 3 picks.
Yeah.
2 picks today. Okay. And we got a fumble. We got 4 extra possessions. Only thing I care about is we won the game.
Right.
I'm not feeling any kind of well played through it. Look, I don't care about none of that. We won the football game on the road. It really was, and I don't want to sound all crazy about it. It really was a must win when you think about it, because we lost 2 in a row.
Absolutely.
So you can't lose 3 football games in a row. So I'm glad, and we won in convincing style.
And if they lost this,
we got Jahiem going. He's a good back, man. He really is a good back.
That's a good segue, because I'm going to get to that here right now, actually. But yeah, I mean, you're right on. If you lose this game, you're 4-4, and all of a sudden that nice 4-1 start to the season, it's well in the past, and now you're on the ropes thinking, oh my gosh, can you get 2 more wins to get bowl eligible? And that could have been a very hairy situation, especially because that would have meant you lost to 2 of the newcomers in the Big 12 already, and you got 2 more to go. But you find a way to win, and they dominated that second half, I would like to say, for the most part, because of the ground game. And yes, this is what we're going to get to right here. And by the way, I think we have a new listener to the show. and his name is CJ Donaldson, because we kind of, I don't want to say we called him out last week, but we brought it to everyone's attention that he hasn't ran as well as he did in weeks past or even last year. Today, that man showed up and showed up big.
Absolutely.
We talked about how he hadn't had a 20-yard plus rush all season. That happened today at the end of the game, where he busted. Actually, he had one early in the first half as well, but he also had one that essentially iced the game on that third down where he broke free and got inside the 10. So huge bounce back game for him. It's good to see CJ back, running hard, running well and effective. Jahiem looks like he's going to be a special kid, especially once he gets more involved. Justin Johnson sprinkled in. This is starting to become a really good running back room for the Mountaineers.
Absolutely. I feel really good about that. I'm going to say it again, not because I'm a former running back myself, but I'm saying whenever you can control the line of scrimmage and you can run the football well, you're going to win some football games. Yeah. Because you're absolutely controlling the time of possession. You're absolutely taking a lot of pressure off the QB. You're doing some things where you're making it easy on first and second downs if you're running the ball consistently, because those third downs become third and shorts. You know what I mean? Second and shorts, depending on what you're doing. If you're running I enjoyed watching this game. Really did. From start. The Mountaineers came out and played the way that I expected them to play the last 3 weeks, to be completely honest. This is how you play big boy football.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the offense is humming right now. Like, Garrett Greene is finding his confidence. He today became the first West Virginia quarterback to rush for 3 scores in a game since your boy Pat White. So that's insane. But again, when you have that type of a running game and you have a quarterback that can run, it seems like he's really starting to grow some confidence with his arm as well. Yeah. If the defense can just play average to above average football, I mean, this team they can shock some people and win some games down the stretch, particularly the one in Norman that probably not a lot of people are expecting them to win. So that's pretty much all I have. Final thoughts on this one as we roll into next week, and BYU on the schedule next week. We'll show the schedule here in a minute, but any final thoughts on this game?
I personally think if we move forward and we're playing this way offensively in the defense, we get an opportunity, to help to scheme them in a different way where they could, like I said, get some pressure on the QB. This could be a very interesting next 4 to 5 weeks, Schuyler.
Yeah, it definitely can be. And it's going to be tough, though, because, again, there's been some injuries along the way defensively. Today, Doug Nestor goes out. He's got it looked like an ankle injury. He's in a walking boot, so there's no timetable for that. I mean, just because a guy's in a walking boot doesn't mean he's out for the season. I've seen guys in walking boots at the Panthers, and they're back to practice on Monday. So you have no idea what that's going to turn out to be. We'll find out from Neil Brown in his press conference. Maybe find out some more on Monday. Quick look here at the road ahead for West Virginia. Again, they return home next week to face BYU, and then they wrap up with Oklahoma on the road, their final game at home against Cincinnati, and then the season finale at Baylor. So you'll like your chances at least in 3 of those 4, potentially 4 of 4, if you can find some answers on that defense. And again, Kansas in a dogfight right now with the Sooners. So it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm looking up at my screen right in front of me. Anything is possible. I put that game on with some serious, looking at it like, okay, we need something to happen here. You know what I mean? We need something to happen. But listen, man, it's a great day to be a Mountaineer no matter where you are.
That's right. And again, West Virginia moving to 5-3 on the year, 3-2 in Big 12 conference play. And maybe I'll just keep picking the opposite team that West Virginia plays, because I'm telling you, man, the walkthrough game day show, I have absolutely stunk it up on the West Virginia picks this year. I'm getting it wrong every single week, whether I'm picking the Mountaineers or whether I'm going against them. And I've had a few fans tell me, hey, just keep picking against them. And the weeks that I do pick against them, it works. So you know what? BYU next week, baby. So Thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of the Mountaineers Now postgame show. For Eugene, Napoleon, I'm Schuyler, Callihan. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Mountaineers Now and give us a follow at Mountaineers Now on X as well. So we will be back tomorrow morning for the morning after, diving deeper into this one. West Virginia winners 41-28. Thank you guys for watching and have a great rest of your Saturday.